Bunchai, Mildred, and friends, there are many familiar faces that I see around the room. It's very good to see all of you. First, let me thank you for inviting me to this year's Leadership in Action. As the theme of today's event suggests, we are in the times of a profound change. The world has become increasingly complex. We are now facing rising geopolitical tension between US and China. Just about a week from now, we'll find out who will be the 60th President of the United States. But at the same time, regardless of who is in the White House, we expect geopolitical tension to continue to intensify. At the same time, we are also seeing the escalation of conflicts in the Middle East while Russia-Ukraine war rages on. Furthermore, we are confronted with global challenges such as climate change, which requires a global solution that needs every nation to be able to work together. These are changes and challenges in our journey ahead. But as the second half of the theme of today's event highlights, navigating change is not simply about assessing the challenges that lie ahead, but also identifying the opportunities therein. Even amidst a more complex and fractured global trading order, we see opportunities emerging in our region. As companies around the world review their production and supply chains, Southeast Asia, including Singapore, is emerging as a prominent hub for manufacturing, as well as services such as finance and insurance, professional services, and information and communication. In fact, while global foreign direct investment flows declined by 10%, FDI flows to ASEAN held strong in 2023 and reached a high of $230 billion. ASEAN's growth for 2024 and 2025 is expected to be robust at around 5%. This is higher than the projected global average of 3%. It is also projected to become the fourth largest economy in the world by 2030, with a combined GDP of $4.5 trillion. To tap into the growth of ASEAN, companies will require leaders who can understand the nuances within the respective ASEAN member states, cultivate enduring relationships with local business partners, and develop the acumen to navigate the political and social complexities. This is why we have developed various programs to help our companies build up a pipeline of leaders who will be ready to take up regional or even global corporate leadership roles. Earlier this year, we launched the Global Business Leaders Program to support companies to send their local talent on overseas work assignments for training and exposure. In tandem, we had also launched the Overseas Market Immersion Program to support companies to reskill their employees through the on-the-job and in-market training in global roles. I encourage companies to tap on these programs and opportunities to help potential leaders in your organization to gain useful overseas work experience and insights. Such regional know-how is but one of the skill sets that companies will need to build within their workforce. As technologies such as the AI and quantum computing revolutionize how companies conduct their businesses, it will be increasingly imperative for companies to build up capabilities in such technologies. In our National AI Strategy 2.0, we had set out a target of tripling our AI practitioner pool to 15,000 over the next 3 to 5 years. These practitioners are critical to supporting companies' efforts to embrace AI. In this regard, through company-led training programs and career conversion programs under the Tech Skills Accelerator initiative, we are supporting companies to build and develop talent in AI and data analytics. Companies can also tap on our program to grow your AI product development teams. This will complement our efforts to drive the adoption and development of AI-driven solutions among our industries, including the setting up of sectoral as well as company-based AI centers of excellence. Likewise, as the pressure for industries to reduce their carbon footprint grows, there will be an increasing need for companies to build up green skills within their workforce. In particular, the latest edition of the Skills Demand for the Future Economy report by Skills Future Singapore had identified 3 critical green skills, namely environmental and social governance, carbon footprint management, and sustainable manufacturing. This is not surprising as companies adopt environmental, social, and governance principles, they will need to build up ESG skills. Similarly, as companies seek to reduce their carbon emissions within their supply chains, skills such as carbon footprint management and sustainable manufacturing will be critical for roles such as energy engineers, operations and maintenance managers, and engineering procurement managers. Requirements on climate-related disclosures will also drive the demand for skills in carbon accounting, carbon markets, and sustainable finance. MTI, in conjunction with the Skills Future Singapore, has set up the Green Skills Committee, which brings together industry players, training providers, and other partners to develop skills and training programs for the low-carbon economy. For example, in the energy sector, the Energy Market Authority is working with training providers to introduce training programs to address clean energy skills gaps identified by the industry. This includes skills for the safe handling of energy storage systems and the planning and execution of high-voltage direct current projects. Likewise, to support the development of a carbon service and trading system in Singapore, our agencies have been working with our universities to develop training programs in carbon management services and trading. In addition to the need to build regional, digital, and green skills to stay competitive, companies will also need to manage greater diversity within their workforce because of our demographic trends. With an aging population and falling birth rates, companies in Singapore will increasingly see multi-generation workforce in their workplaces. A study by BSI on age-diverse workplaces indicated that flexibility about when, where, and how much they work are key considerations to support older workers. In particular, workers increasingly value flexibility as they age, and older workers are more likely to stay employed for longer if their jobs are more flexible. The study also noted that skills maintenance and development is also key to enable mature workers to remain in the workforce for longer. In this regard, companies play a pivotal role in providing upskilling and reskilling for their existing workers in order to open up career development and job mobility opportunities. Last but not least, the study also noted the importance of building an age-inclusive culture. Older workers appreciate an open and inclusive work culture where their voices are heard and which allows them to help each other as it gives them a sense of purpose. Companies need to therefore create an equitable and affirmative culture in their organizations and to provide managers with the necessary tools to support the older workers. I therefore urge you to plan ahead to welcome multi-generation workforce, to redesign and even fractionalize jobs to create more flexible work arrangements for senior workers, to strengthen reskilling and upskilling support for senior workers, including by tapping on the Skills Future Level Up program that we had just announced earlier this year. Lastly, to create an inclusive multi-generation workplace. Now let us talk about another important topic. Since I'm invited by the Council for Board Diversity, I need to talk about diversity. As leaders in your respective organizations, you have the authority as well as the responsibility to navigate your companies through these challenges in order to thrive and succeed. And as the age-old adage goes, leadership starts at the top, as it is important and imperative that we set the tone right from the top. In particular, we should reflect the diversity we want to see in the organization at the highest level. There has been much attention focused over the past years on greater female representation on company boards. There is good reason for this. A study by McKinsey found that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity on their executive teams were 25% more likely to have above average profitability compared to those in the bottom quartile. Similarly, Credit Suisse Gender 3000 report found that companies with more than 20% women on their boards saw consistently higher returns on equity and better stock price performance than those with less gender diversity. Here in Singapore, I'm glad that we have made some progress as reported by Mildred. Among the top 100 SGX-listed companies, women's participation on boards has tripled from 7.5% in 2013 to 25.3% in 2023, and we await eagerly the 2024 results. The top 100 institutions of public character, IPCs, have also raised women's participation on boards from 28% to 31% over the last 5 years. Over the same period, stat boards have raised women's participation on boards from 23% to 33%. However, there is still more that we can do to pursue greater gender diversity. For example, outside of the top 100 SGX-listed companies, the proportion of women directors is lower, at about 14%. There is also room to encourage greater gender diversity in non-listed companies. Besides gender diversity, we should also pay attention to other forms of diversity. Indeed, research has shown that companies with diverse boards not only perform better financially, but also innovate more and are more likely to handle risks when they emerge. I spoke earlier about the new skill sets and companies will need to build going forward. To drive organizational change, I urge companies to make deliberate efforts to bring in directors with diverse experience and expertise so that they can bring fresh perspectives to the team. In this vein, I am glad to note that more firms are appointing first-time directors with no previous board experiences. Among the top 100 SGX-listed companies, first-time directors made up 66% of all new appointments, an increase to close to 20% compared to 2022. Let me also urge the Council for Board Diversity to continue working with companies to strengthen their disclosures on their targets, plans, and progress to achieve board diversity. I know that following the introduction of rules on disclosure on board diversity for SGX-listed companies in 2022, only about 40% of companies have disclosed diversity targets, and even lower percentage had disclosed plans, timelines, and progress towards achieving these targets. Ultimately, companies should recognize that it is to their benefit to have a greater diversity of perspectives, skills, and experiences to better navigate the challenges ahead. As the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, said, if you believe, as we believe, that diversity leads to better products, then you obviously put a ton of energy behind diversity, the same way you would put a ton of energy behind anything else that is important to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we look to the challenges and opportunities ahead, it is important that companies amass people with the right skills, talent, experience, and perspectives to develop fresh insights, drive innovation, and manage risks. This is critical, both in the workforce and company boards, where matters of long-term strategy are discussed, debated, and decided. I urge each one of you to build greater diversity in your respective companies as you expand your markets, strengthen partnerships, and explore opportunities going ahead. Thank you very much.